Hi, my name is Vic DeMarines. I'm from VI Labs. I'm responsible for the product strategy, and today we're going to review CodeArmor Software Protection for .NET version 3.0. Before we begin looking at the actual features within the version 3.0 product, I want to do a brief review of the application vulnerabilities in the .NET world. And to do that, I'm going to compare a native Windows application and a .NET application. In a native Windows environment, you compile the application into machine code, and it's executed by the CPU. And there are vulnerabilities still with that kind of environment, but you can't decompile or gain access to the source code within that application. With managed environments like Microsoft.NET, it's a totally different situation. You partially compile the code into an intermediate language, which is then just-in-time compiled on the machine that it's being deployed in, which is then compiled into assembly code. So what that means is, as the application is deployed and it's run on a desktop or server environment, I can use several freeware tools to decompile and look at the source code within that application, because the intermediate language is very highly defined with metadata. So if you have an issue with piracy or your innovations within that application, or you're worried about vulnerabilities, the exposure is much more in this .NET environment. So let's take a look at some of the features that we provided in the 3.0 product that can handle this issue and offer better security. Let's review the key features that we've added into the 3.0 product. The first one is flexibility. And what we mean by that is, with this new protection that we've added in 3.0, you're able to protect the .NET application and still allow it to behave as a .NET application in its environment. So you can reflect off of it. The IL code, of course, is encrypted, but the methods are still exposed, so you can also develop on top of an application protected with this technology. In terms of platforms, we support now 32-bit as well as 64-bit Windows, also key for new applications. The second feature is enhanced runtime security. So the enhanced runtime security that we refer to here is we are now integrating within the .NET framework. So at runtime, as the application executes, we integrate within the framework and we decrypt the code at a method level, and we also make sure that the code is never decrypted completely in memory. And this certainly extends beyond traditional protection approaches like obfuscation, which is passive and allows you to decompile the application and does not utilize encryption. And then finally, one of the key benefits of using this technology is if you're a vendor or an enterprise organization and you're sharing your code in application programming interfaces or software development kits, or you have to host your sensitive application, your ASP.NET application, onto a third-party network, you're able to encrypt the application and the libraries that make up that capability for your product and still allow other organizations to develop on top of it without exposing your secure intellectual property. So with that, I'd like to now talk about how this actually works at runtime. So I want to now talk about how 3.0 works in terms of protection and also at the runtime security. So in terms of protecting your applications, you start with an executable and a DLL, so the libraries or the assemblies that make up your .NET application. You run it through a post-processor utility. Now the post-processor will analyze the code automatically and encrypt the IL code within those binaries. And you can configure this using a user interface or a command line interface, which can be integrated into your build process. And then the output will be the protected files plus a customized runtime library that will integrate into .NET. So let's talk about the runtime component of this. Now, what happens at runtime that secures your .NET code? So again, if we go back to sort of the architecture diagram where you have the application, you have the .NET framework, which will then just-in-time compile the application into machine code. Many of the previous versions of protection tools that have been out there have not done a very good job to protect the environment as you're decrypting or doing the just-in-time compiling. And certainly obfuscation technologies don't even go this far. So with 3.0, what we've done is we've created a customized runtime. So every time you protect your application, a unique customized runtime component is created. And when the application executes, it attaches to the .NET framework and hooks in such a way that it can decrypt at a method level as the code is being just-in-time compiled. And what that buys you is a level of security where before this the code is certainly encrypted, so you can't just dump the memory because you only have one method that's ever exposed at any point in time. And you also have the flexibility, the protection, being able to interact with other applications. And so once this code is decrypted, it is re-encrypted, and then you move to the next method. So at no point in time can the application be accessed in memory. And this is certainly one of the benefits of this type of protection approach. This gives you an idea how CodeArmor Software Protection for .NET 3.0 works and the key features in the product. We have a lot more information on our website, so please check us out at our website and also on our blog, Code Confidential. Thank you.